So, Videl is all well and good, but Gohan isn't. Will this go well? Hey folks, MasakoX here. We are continuing our holiday What If special with a whole series taking place within an entire month. This is something that I've been longing to do for months now, but I honestly couldn't find the right way to convey it, nor did I wish to do this exercise alone. As a result, I sought out the collective minds of my two What If chums from the round table, Sophie B. Powerhouse and, of course, our resident sidekick Haverock. The three of us have plotted out what we would possibly think might happen if Videl had the chance to become a Z-Fighter, and see whether it would actually lead to something pretty epic, or whether, in terms of the Buu Saga, she would actually just do anything or fade into the background as per usual and really not contribute much. Well, as far as we're concerned, if it gave her more personality to stand out enough to remain relevant, we will take that on board, and I think you lot would agree with that as well. This story is something I have enjoyed to work on, as it takes a character which has a massive fan base and gives them a sort of change for the better that gives them a new standing within the whole community, which is in keeping with their mindset still at the time of their debut. The daughter of Hercule, Videl, she was primed to become not only Gohan's partner and future wife, but also a partner in crime, ironically, as the Great Saiyaman too, not the Great Saiya woman. Then nothing happened. After that, she became even more like a cardboard cutout than Chi-Chi did sometimes. Save for when she was actually called upon to be the nagging wife, because that was a great 90s joke! To me, it's actually a bit of a toxic stereotype that's still trying to be pushed to the side right now, if you'd ask me. And whilst you could argue she wanted a simple lifestyle, just wanted to be a mother maybe, and maybe the Spopovich fight in the original had something to do with it, it kind of feels odd that we got no character development at all to signal that change. It just sort of happened. We had no incident specifically to change her lot in life. We just had to accept it. Well, not today! In the last part, we saw a battle which we changed considerably. Spopovich and Videl were facing each other, and in this universe, we had Videl taking the win on paper. But that did not mean that she was free and got out of it unscathed, because, no, remember, Spopovich also had a partner in crime. Yamu came in with a ki blast, something that Videl had had trouble with training with Gohan, as she really didn't understand it. She'd never gotten the hang of it, and as such, her ability to defend against ki, especially a surprise ki attack, was limited to non-existent. With her down, Gohan decided to avenge her, and with her also sent to hospital with Krillin, Gohan had no idea of her situation, him being too blinded with teenage angst and rage to just, sense her ki. As Babidi was eyeing up Gohan, Deborah had been unleashed on the Dragon team, and it still ends up with Piccolo being turned to stone, thanks to the Demon Spittle, and Kibito being iced. Shin then starts to realize that they really don't have any choice but to actively take out Babidi and Deborah. That is something they have to do head on. Him being unaware, of course, of how strong Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan actually were. The Kais constantly relying on the Frieza scale of power, annoyingly so. Babidi invites the quartet to try their luck, and the battle begins with Gohan choosing to vent his anger first, more so than in the original, and taking on Pui Pui instead of Vegeta. Goku says it might be better to use rock, paper, scissors to choose who fights who, but Gohan's face is solemn and stern. "This isn't the time to be playing games, Dad! We're dealing with monsters here! Videl, Piccolo, they're all in danger because of me! I have to fix this." Vegeta isn't all that bothered. In fact, he actually finds it quite good, as it might get the boy to quell his raging hormones. He is so confused with how Gohan could be so worked up over a girl he just met. He shrugs and just observes the battle. Needless to say, Gohan's smart mind and power is more than enough to deal with Pui Pui. His power is so small in comparison to the hybrid, Gohan didn't even need to power up to Super Saiyan in order to defeat him. The 10 times gravity of Pui Pui's planet, thinking it might be to his advantage, not really much of a problem for Gohan since his time in the Room of Spirit and Time, was far more arduous than this. Vegeta would have actually had no problem with this as he did in the original, but still, Gohan gets the first victory, and they then head on to the next one, the next level, Yakon vs Goku. Whilst that's been going on, Videl had fully recovered from her injuries, and the senzu bean had worked its magic. She sat bolt upright in the hospital bed, with the doctors and nurses completely and utterly flabbergasted with her sudden recovery. Even Hercule was stunned.
Videl, you're alright! How in the... What was in that bean?
Krillin walks up to Hercule and explains how senzu beans work and where they come from. Hercule is nonplussed and would normally state that, oh, this was a bunch of hooey, a bunch of tricks and something like a fairy tale. But he had just seen his own child with a gaping hole in her torso and in no mood to sit up, suddenly no longer have a hole and want to sit up. Her wound completely healed. She looked like she'd just woken up after a nice long nap. Completely fine. That was too hard to ignore.
Okay, Short Stack, even if I do believe you, you and your pals have got explaining to do. Just what is this Gohan doing to my baby girl?
Videl is looking a little irritated. I can answer for myself, Dad. I'm right here. Hercule apologizes, and she explains the training she had done with Gohan and how they're actually going steady. Hercule is totally blown away. His sweet daughter dating some strong man, stronger than him. Dad, I love him. Krillin thought that was cute, and he remembered the first time that 18 had told him that she loved him. Ah, memories. Hercule, though, didn't know what to think. His brain was completely fogged up. But then he remembered something. He actually had a grand final to get back to. He was the defending champion, after all.
I gotta go back and fight in the final, sweetie. But promise me this. You stay here, right here, until I get back. We can talk more about this later.
With that, he and his agent, who had been tapping her foot madly for the past 10 minutes to get on with it, rushed back to the tournament grounds. Krillin and Videl looked to each other. There's no way I'm staying here when Gohan is probably having kittens about me. Where did he go? Krillin looks a little more somber than he had been around Hercule. Videl? Things have gotten a little more complicated since we got here. Videl looked quite puzzled at this, and Krillin explained the situation from what he could gather from sensing energy. Gohan, Goku, and Vegeta had been battling a huge power, and Piccolo's energy had been frozen solid. Needless to say, I don't think you should get involved. Videl looks a little sore about this. So what am I supposed to do with all this training I've been doing? Sit around and do nothing? Krillin then suggests something else. I don't have the desire to get involved either, but I'm actually curious. How long did you train with Gohan? Videl counts the time she'd spent with him, and it came out to maybe about a couple of weeks worth of training in total. Krillin was surprised. That quick? And she was already putting out this much energy? Huh. Tell you what, how about we go to the lookout and do a little sparring? Videl nods. Oh, cool. It'd be nice to see Dende again. Wait, you've been there before? Mm-hmm. Gohan and I spent some quality time in that wacky room that slows down time or something. It was fun. Krillin was stunned again. She had some steely resolve to handle even a day inside of that room. Anyway, with them both able to fly, Videl and Krillin sneakily fly out of the hospital room and off to the lookout. Meanwhile, we cut to Barbody's ship, and Goku's battle with Yakon goes as you would expect. But Gohan is getting more and more impatient. He cannot sense energy outside of the ship now at all. They'd gone so low that Barbody's magical influence was putting a stop to that. And when we get to Deborah's battle, Vegeta steps up and is more than happy to battle this strong fighter, the king of the demon realm. The battle is pretty one-sided, with Vegeta having the upper hand the entire time. Deborah is perplexed as to how mortals could have this much strength, unaware of Saiyans specifically and what these Saiyans have been able to do lately, and their prodigious and rapid increase in battle power. He had no answer to Vegeta's vicious blows, and the prince is enjoying this immensely.
To think that the underworld had such weaklings for rulers! No sport at all.
Gohan is getting madder and madder with Vegeta's attitude. He was treating this like some kind of game. It gets to the point where Goku has to step in and ask Gohan exactly what is getting him so worked up. Gohan then lashes out at his father, thinking he was part of the problem, explaining that he's been worried sick about Videl since they left for this mission. Dad, I've no idea about whether she's okay or not, or whether she's still alive. Barbary must be gemming our ability to sense energy. I don't know, but I'm scared. Dad, I'm scared. Scared and angry. I promised to make her stronger, and instead I've just as good as killed her. Goku is trying to console him, and is just about to tell him that Videl was okay, thinking it might make him feel better, but then Vegeta's victory distracts them both. Deborah is defeated, and back up top on the ground level, Piccolo's petrification ceases. The Namekian is really confused as to what happened and what's going on, until he then gets a summons from Dende telepathically to report to the lookout at once. But the elder Namekian refuses, stating that Gohan's mental state was troubling him.
I don't like leading him like this. I'm gonna stay here until I know what's going on.
Dende then tries to convince him otherwise, but all he gets is really an earful of shouting from Piccolo. Yeah, Dende, it's probably best that you should leave Piccolo and let him come when he's ready. With that, Piccolo then keeps looking at the front of the ship, waiting for something to happen. Up on the lookout, Videl and Krillin arrive, and the latter explains to Dende whether it might be okay to go in the Room of Spirit and Time for a little bit. He wants to train Videl some more, and maybe tie up some loose ends that Gohan didn't have the time to do so earlier. Dende nods and states that since Piccolo had just rejected his request to join them, yeah, it should be no problem. Wait, why do you want to help me? You never explained that. Krillin then turns to her. Kid, I can tell that you got a lot of potential. I may not be as strong as Gohan these days, but I got plenty of experience. At least enough to show you a thing or two about ki control. It should mean that what happened to you at the tournament will never happen again. Or at worst, you can at least defend yourself. Videl nods and agrees that if it hadn't been for her lack of proficiency in that particular area of expertise, she would have progressed. Besides, if you and Gohan are a thing, I really want to get to know ya. I've known the little kid since he was yay high. If you like, I can actually tell you some funny stories to help pass the time. He slyly winks, and that makes Videl chuckle. It's as good as looking at baby pictures for her. With that, Krillin takes Videl into the Room of Spirit and Time again for a short while, the former telling Dende just to knock on the door if things go south outside. Back below, even if Barbary's influence had dissipated, Videl being in the chamber would have meant that Gohan couldn't sense her anyway, and he wouldn't have known about her going in the chamber again. Barbary's cursing Deborah's weakness though. He's trying to figure out what to do next. He had no fighters left, and then the energy collected so far, including his minions' efforts, couldn't muster even half of the energy he needed to unlock Majin Buu. He is spitting feathers, until he spots something going on his viewing globe.
Barbary, draw your attention to the viewing globe.
He could see Gohan shouting with Vegeta. They were standing over Deborah's lifeless form, and arguing about something. He pays close attention.
I've had just about enough of your immature whining, boy! You've had it easy since we got here! You've not had to lift a finger, and no, that weakling you fought earlier doesn't count!
Goku and Shin are trying to stop the bickering from happening, but Gohan is getting more and more irate with Vegeta.
You were toying with Deborah! Wasting valuable time! You always do this, Vegeta! Play with your food!
Vegeta snaps. Gohan had probably nearly almost pressed the Goku button.
Watch yourself, boy. We may be on the same side, but nobody tells me what to do.
Barbary is licking his lips.
That boy, he's getting wilder and wilder by the second. I knew it. He would make the perfect candidate. His youthful figure is just what I need to release Majin Buu. Oh, love makes people do crazy things.
Barbary begins to work his magic, as the two Saiyans are still bickering. Meanwhile, Krillin and Videl are training in the room, and have been doing so for the best part of a few days inside. Videl already had the building blocks of ki control in place, but she hadn't had time to put them all together, as it were. With Krillin's simple instruction though, she had managed to get some headway into understanding how ki manipulation worked, when a knock on the door ceased their training at once. Krillin, assuming that things were really going south outside, opened the door, but instead of Dende frantically telling him something was wrong, he was facing a taller Namekian. It was Piccolo. Piccolo! You're alright! He said nothing for a moment though. You okay there, buddy? Krillin asked.
Krillin, could you step out for a second? I want to see what that girl can do.
What about Gohan? Is he okay?
It'll only take a moment.
He pushes past Krillin, knocking him out, and the door slams shut behind them. Krillin absolutely confused as to what the heck happened there. Videl sees the tall green man she had spotted earlier talking to the short spiky-haired man.
So, you're Videl, huh?
Piccolo muttered. Yeah? She said confusedly.
Gohan thinks highly of you, that you're capable of getting stronger.
He takes off his cape and weighted clothing. More silence.
I'll be the judge of that.
And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. So what do you folks think? What will Piccolo think of Videl's medal? Has Krillin given her a chance to impress the Namekian? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!